if you don't believe that it takes us 5 minutes or less to put these together, jump on a call with me and I will show you and right on your screen how quick you can do this. It takes a couple minutes, to once you build out your templates, your feed templates and all that stuff, it is astonishing how quickly I can put it together. And one of the strategies I use with clients is a lot of times I will sit down and my team will put all the data that I want. And that's, like as far as affordability and everything. And I'm going to be honest with you, once I have that information into Mortgage Coach, I rarely even use H2O, only for pricing, because I'm doing all my debt to income calculations out of it. Everything I know I'm going to do is in that notes section. Like if there's parameters as far as don't price this product, do price that product, I put all that stuff in there. And so really it's my one-stop shop. It is my one essential tool that I use every single day. Like if it goes down, that's it. I'm going to turn in my cleats and walk away. So let me show you a couple of things. I'm not going to recap because I was showing some of the same strategies that the other presenters were as well. So I kind of mixed up and I brought up a couple different reports. One thing that I've been dealing with a fair amount lately is people that are selling property also, and they're buying first. Maybe these are like contingent buyers, or not contingent buyers, but people that are just buying and then they're going to sell and recast their loans. So one of the things that I've learned how to do is, and I made this is a real client that we closed last month that called me at about 9:30 at night, having an absolute panic attack because they're seeing the market change on their sale and they just don't think they're going to get what they thought they were going to get for their house. And, I think we've all had those panicked phone calls, but being able to throw stuff into a tool, I just said, hey, go to your computer. I'm going to sit at my computer. I'm going to show you something. And I built this report right in front of them. And I put in, okay, here's their loan, right? Like this is what you're doing to buy your house. And here's what it's going to look like if you sell it. They were expecting, maybe 1.1, but there's some changes. So I said, okay, let's look at some worst cases. What if it sells for 1.025? What if it's $1 million even? What if it's 975? And I played with their proceeds so I could show them what their monthly payments are going to look like down the road. I found this to be an incredibly effective tool where I wasn't using it to quote sell a mortgage at that point, but it's what an opportunity to have a tool where I could calm someone down with numbers so that they could sleep at night. And this gives me the opportunity then to ask for referrals at closing, because they're going to remember, what's the saying, like people don't remember what you do, they remember how you make them feel. Couldn't be more true. If you take away someone's pain, if you take away someone's fear, they're a client for life. So this is one example that I used, and I use this a lot when I'm showing recasts. It's a little tricky to kind of figure out how to do it. You just kind of figure it out, like you pull the loan amount, you put it up there, and then you can kind of show side by side what's that payment going to look like. Some other things that I've done, like, is there anything more basic than showing someone the impact of points and different rate combinations? This was a jumbo buyer that I was showing that was getting a massive credit from the seller. So, okay, let's use up that credit. Do you want to use some more for points? And we did all these different combinations, but like a lot of people, they think there's a good opportunity to refinance. So this right here, I use this section. I got to move where everyone's on my screen. I'm gonna push you all over there. I use this constantly, the savings over, I just say savings over X months, because the power of this math is everything to me. Like, and I tell people all the time, like, just let's focus on this, because this is where we go over points. This is where we go over all that stuff. So it's a pretty basic report, but it just provides the data that people need. And Greg, I 100% agree that it's not the technology, so to speak, but this is a medium that I can use to take the stuff that I've accumulated over 16 years of doing this and solving problems for people, and allows me a way to communicate what's in here into someone else's brain so that they can kind of make more savvy decisions. The last one I wanted to share, which I may have just screwed up my share, there we go, is I've used this just to switch gears a little bit also, is I've used this to compare quotes. Like, how many times have you had that phone call after someone's locked or something, and someone's like, hey, so-and-so says that their rate is this. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let's see it. And what I love about this is you can usually decipher, like someone says, hey, the rate's similar. Why is their payment $200 less? So, you know, I might get a fee worksheet and then I just put, I'm not afraid of it. Like I just put the other competing fee worksheet into Mortgage Coach, because then you can see a no BS side-by-side comparison when you did the work. You know what the property taxes are. You know what the fees actually are for title insurance and for escrow and all those other things, where someone else might not be putting in the energy to actually pull the real data. Well, this is an opportunity, and you can have the honest conversation. Say like, well, actually, if we really correct, the payment's only off by $8 a month. And, you know, it's less of what is that, $1,600 in cash to close. Well, we retained this loan. We just closed it. And, you know, it was a really great experience for the client, because they thought, they're like, oh my God, John, I want to work with you, but this other quote's so much better. But really it wasn't. And we're used to that. So that's one thing that I do with this that is going to be different than maybe a couple other things you're going to see from the other presenters.
So John, we're going to drill down on this a little bit, because
Sure.
what you're looking at right now, if you're a branch manager or you're responsible for a P&L, what I'm going to say next is at least 9 basis points in savings if you implement this. And I've implemented this with a lot of branch managers when negotiating price exceptions. You notice that it's $8 a month and it's $2,200 over 5 years. So the typical branch manager, the typical loan officer navigates, you know, in basis points, in eighths and a rate. An eighth and a rate is a lot of basis points. And so, you know, what I hear in the market all the time when negotiating a competitor that's got a lower rate is that if it's under $5,000 over 60 months, you can retain that business, you know, without a price exception. And now when it gets over $5,000 in, you know, 5-year value, now instead of negotiating with basis points, you can negotiate with dollars. Like, you know, like, hey, if I could take X off, and now instead of like every time you're given a price exception, you're giving away, you know, a rate, you know, an eighth, a quarter, you know, a lot of basis points. You can fractionalize, you can reduce. Mortgage Coach itself will reduce price exception or like rate grinding because it's value. And then if you do get in that knife fight, it helps you have a better strategy and a better conversation.